5 years of nothing. Then this happens. You check your account, and suddenly there's real growth staring back at you. Not just a small bump, but a jump. It feels like it came out of nowhere. But here's the truth, it didn't. That growth was silently building the entire time. You just didn't feel it. That's the brutal illusion of compounding. It doesn't shout, it whispers. In the beginning, it feels like a scam. You invest, you save, you stay consistent, and nothing. Days, weeks, months, still nothing exciting. And just when you're about to quit, that silent engine kicks in. Because compounding isn't meant to impress you early, it's designed to reward patience. This is why most people never see the rewards. Not because compounding doesn't work, but because they walk away before the magic begins. Stick around, because once you understand why compounding feels fake at first but isn't, you'll never doubt the process again. Reason 1, compounding starts slow because it's designed that way. Compounding is like planting a seed. You water it, protect it, and show up every day, hoping for a sprout, but for weeks, nothing. That's not failure, it's how growth naturally works. Compounding doesn't give instant rewards because it doesn't operate in straight lines. It works exponentially. That means in the early stages, growth is so small it looks invisible. Think of saving $100 a month. In 1 year, it's $1,200. Add 8% interest and you've made maybe $50 to $100 extra. Not enough to make your jaw drop, but go 10 years, 20, that's where the explosion happens. Not because your effort changed, but because time finally activated the hidden engine. Here's a real-life example. Warren Buffett made over 90% of his wealth after age 50. Not because he became smarter, but because he let compounding mature. Most people quit by year 3 or 4 because they expect fireworks. They think this is too slow, what's the point? But they don't realize compounding is playing the long game. If it gave you instant dopamine, it would burn out fast. But instead, it builds a foundation so strong that when it finally pops, it feels unbelievable. The system isn't broken, your patience is. This is why most people lose in investing, fitness, or any habit. They want instant return in a delayed gratification world. The early years feel like you're pushing a giant flywheel. It barely moves, but with each push, you store energy. Then one day it spins on its own. That's compounding. And that's why it must feel like a scam in the beginning, because it's hiding its true power behind time. Reason 2, the human brain is wired for instant results, not delayed payoffs. Our brains evolved to survive, not invest. In the wild, if you didn't act fast, you'd die. So we crave fast results. That's why we love fast food, binge watching, and scrolling endlessly. Quick dopamine, easy reward. But compounding? That's delayed gratification, and your brain hates that. When you save $10,000 and see it grow to $10,200 in a year, it doesn't feel exciting, it feels boring. Your brain says, why wait a year for $200 when I can buy something now and feel good immediately? This is why apps like Instagram or YouTube go viral. They feed your need for now. But compounding, it's more like farming. You plant today, you water daily, you harvest later. And when the harvest comes, it's massive, but only if you didn't quit. The mismatch between how compounding works and how our brain wants things makes it feel like a scam. We think, why am I putting money, time, or effort into something that gives me almost nothing back right now? While a simple analogy, imagine you go to the gym for 30 days straight, eat clean, sleep well, and step on the scale. You've lost 2 pounds. That's it? You might feel frustrated, but what you don't see is how your metabolism has changed, how your muscles are growing, and how your habits are compounding. The same thing happens with investing, relationships, and skill building. The reward is slow, then sudden. But if you expect Netflix speed results, you'll give up before reality kicks in. This is why people jump from one side hustle to another, one habit to another, one investment trend to another. They're chasing speed, not value. They're wired for sprints. Compounding is a marathon. Reason 3, most progress happens invisibly at first. Compounding works quietly in the shadows. You don't see the impact right away, which makes it easy to think it's not working. Imagine filling a glass with water, one drop at a time. For minutes, nothing seems to happen. The glass looks almost empty, but eventually it fills and even overflows. Most people quit when the glass is just halfway because they can't see the momentum building under the surface. Think about bamboo trees. For years, they grow underground. Nothing visible happens. Then one year, they shoot up several feet in just weeks. That's how compounding works. Whether it's investing money, building a YouTube channel, Learning a new skill or building trust in relationships, it grows underground first, slowly, quietly. Then one day it erupts. This invisibility makes it dangerous. People stop too soon. They cancel their investments. They quit their fitness goals. They abandon daily habits because nothing is happening. But something is happening. You just don't get to see it yet. And that's the mistake. Compounding builds invisible momentum. It's like digging a tunnel. You're hitting rock for months. Then suddenly, breakthrough. But only because you didn't stop hitting. You've got to learn to fall in love with invisible progress. That's the mindset shift. Stop asking, where's the result? And start asking, am I showing up consistently? Because consistency is the real fuel of compounding. Without it, the engine never turns on. Reason 4. You don't see the real gains until the final chapters. Let's say you invest $500 per month starting at age 25 into an index fund with an average 10% annual return. After 10 years, you've invested $60,000 and your portfolio is around $95,000. Respectable, but not life-changing. So far, most of your return came from your own contributions, not compounding. But here's the twist. Fast forward to year 30. You've now invested $180,000 in total. Your portfolio, around $1.1 million. That means over $900,000 came from compounding, not your wallet. You barely changed your habits, but the curve went vertical. The real wealth shows up later, when you've already put in years of quiet effort. That's why compounding feels like a scam in the beginning, because the magic doesn't happen in chapter 1. It happens in chapter 20. It's like reading a 500-page novel and giving up at page 40 because nothing exciting happened yet. But the ending only hits because of all the buildup. Without the early pages, the ending would have no meaning. Same goes for your investment journey, your YouTube channel, your brand, your side hustle, even your relationships. The best parts come after you've already proven you can stick through the boring middle. That's why very few people become rich through compounding. They quit halfway through the book. They can't sit through the boring parts. But if you stick around, you realize you don't have to work harder. You just need to not stop. It's like climbing a hill that suddenly becomes an escalator, but you only get there if you climb long enough. So when someone asks you, why aren't you seeing massive returns yet? Just smile, because you know you're only in chapter 4. Reason 5. People compare their day 100 to someone's year 10. Comparison kills compounding. We look at millionaires on Instagram or 7-figure entrepreneurs on YouTube and wonder, why am I still stuck at $5,000 saved? We don't see that they've been at it for a decade. We compare our beginning to their breakthrough. And that's a mental trap. Because compounding punishes those who compare, it rewards those who stay focused on their own lane. Imagine you're saving $200 a month and your friend just sold a startup for $5 million. You feel small. You start questioning your strategy. Is compounding even worth it? But what you don't realize is they took a risk, probably failed 2 to 3 times, and burned out more than once. You're not on the same journey. You're playing longevity. They played leverage. Both can work. But if you switch your strategy every time someone else wins short-term, you'll never let compounding do its work. Think of it like working out. You just started and you see someone with 6-pack abs. You don't know that they've been in the gym for 7 years, tracking every meal. If you expect the same result in 6 weeks, you'll be disappointed. And you'll quit. Not because your plan failed, but because you expected their result on your timeline. This is why it's so dangerous to scroll through highlight reels. You're being shown someone's peak moment, and you compare it to your work in progress. Compounding doesn't show off. It builds slowly and silently, and then it explodes when you've earned it. That's why staying in your lane is so critical. It's not that compounding doesn't work, it's that distraction kills it. Reason 6. Consistency feels boring, but it's the hidden multiplier. Here's a truth most people won't tell you. Compounding doesn't need you to be a genius. It needs you to be consistent. That's it. Not perfect. Not even fast. Just consistent. But that's the hard part, because showing up every day with no immediate result feels soul-sucking. Think about saving $10 a day. That's a coffee and a snack. Sounds like nothing, right? But over 30 years with 10% returns, that small habit turns into over $600,000. That's the magic of compounding, but it only works if you don't stop. And that's hard because most people get bored. They want excitement. They want variety. But compounding rewards routine, the boring stuff, the daily unsexy work that feels like it's going nowhere. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't see sparkling white teeth the next morning, but you do it anyway. Because the absence of the habit is when things fall apart. Compound habits are the same. You might not see the benefit today, but skip it for a month and the damage becomes clear. Whether it's saving money, working out, learning, or growing your side hustle, consistency compounds. The trap is in thinking, I'll skip just this once. But those skips add up. You don't fall off overnight, you fall off gradually, then suddenly. So the real hack? Make it so easy, so automatic, that it becomes harder not to do it. That's when compounding stops being a scam and starts becoming a system. You don't need better motivation, you need better systems. When consistency becomes identity, compounding becomes inevitable. Reason 7, we're wired for instant gratification, not long-term rewards. Our brains evolved to chase immediate wins. Back when survival meant finding food now, waiting patiently didn't help. Fast forward to today, and that ancient wiring still dominates our financial decisions. That's why compounding feels fake at first. It doesn't feed the part of your brain that craves quick feedback. Let's say you start a side hustle. You make $100 in the first month. Not bad, but not impressive. You keep at it for 6 more months, and now you're making $500 a month. Still feels slow. Meanwhile, your friend made $3,000 flipping crypto overnight. It's tempting to abandon the long game. But here's the secret. Compounding delays the win, only to multiply it later. Think of planting a bamboo tree. For years, it barely breaks through the ground. But by year 5, it shoots up over 90 feet in just 6 weeks. That's not luck, it's underground growth. Silent, invisible, strategic. Compounding is like bamboo. You water the ground daily, and for a long time, it feels like nothing's happening. Then one day it erupts, and people think you got lucky. Social media, fast money, dopamine hits, they all work against compounding. They train your mind to expect rewards today for effort today. But compounding gives you delayed rewards for sustained effort. That's why so many people quit. Not because it doesn't work, but because it doesn't work fast enough to satisfy their craving. The real flex in the modern world? Patience, discipline, playing the long game when everyone else is chasing crumbs. If you can delay your reward longer than most people can stay focused, you win, every time. Reason 8, most people stop right before the breakthrough. There's this classic visual, a miner digging for diamonds. He gives up and walks away, just inches before hitting the jackpot. That's compounding in a nutshell. You save for years, invest monthly, build a business, and when nothing big happens, you stop, not realizing the exponential curve was right around the corner. Let's take investing. You've been contributing $500 per month for 10 years. You've put in $60,000 and maybe you've got $90,000 saved. You think, is this it? So you pause your contributions. But here's the tragedy. Years 11 to 20 are when compounding finally kicks in. That's when your money starts making money faster than you can contribute. It's like pushing a giant flywheel. At first, it barely moves. You push and push, zero momentum, but eventually it turns. Slowly, then faster, then so fast it feels like you're not pushing anymore. It's pushing itself. That's the compounding curve. And most people quit right before that flywheel starts spinning on its own. Same goes for side hustles, YouTube channels, careers, or even relationships. You do all the work, put in the hours, and when the payoff doesn't show up on your timeline, you walk. But the universe doesn't work on your calendar. Compounding pays out in its own time, and it tests your patience before it delivers. So if you feel like quitting, don't. You might be in the part of the story where it feels pointless, but the next chapter is where it becomes exponential. That's why the winners in every game are rarely the most talented. They're just the ones who kept going. Reason 9, compounding is boring, and that's why it works. Here's the harsh truth. Success through compounding is boring. It's not flashy, it's not viral, it's not going to impress your friends at dinner, and that's exactly why it works. Think about Warren Buffett. The guy became a billionaire not by chasing trends, but by doing the same boring thing for decades. Investing, reading, waiting, that's it. No fancy hacks, no secret formula, just time plus consistency equals compounding magic. But let's be honest, that's not exciting. No one wants to hear, keep doing the same thing for 20 years. Imagine telling someone your wealth plan is, save $1,000 a month and invest it into index funds for 30 years. Their eyes glaze over. They want NFTs, crypto spikes, viral income. But Buffett didn't build Berkshire Hathaway on hype. He built it on boring, predictable, repeatable, and powerful. It's like going to the gym and doing push-ups every day. You won't feel the difference tomorrow or next week, But in 6 months, you'll be unrecognizable. Not because of some fancy machine, but because boring reps compound. Here's the mindset shift. Boring is your ally. It's the signal you're on the right path, because anything worth building long-term will feel dull in the short term. Want flashy? Buy a lottery ticket. Want freedom? Embrace the boring habits that stack into unstoppable results. The people who stick to the boring plan win, because while everyone else is busy chasing dopamine, you're building unshakable momentum. Reason 10. The most valuable gains in life are invisible at first. Not all compound returns come with dollar signs. Some of the greatest outcomes, confidence, wisdom, relationships, reputation, grow silently in the background. And that's what makes compounding so hard to trust, because you can't always see the results, not right away. Let's say you start waking up early to read for 30 minutes. Week 1, nothing. Month 1, you feel a bit sharper. Year 1, you speak with clarity, make better decisions, and get offered an opportunity that changes your income trajectory forever. That opportunity didn't appear out of nowhere. It was compounded knowledge attracting compounded opportunities. Or imagine consistently putting out helpful content online. For months, no likes, no followers, no traction. But someone important sees it one day, reaches out and says, "Let's work together." The world only sees the moment it popped off. They never see the 10,000 invisible moments that led to it. Compounding is always working, but silently. It's like gravity. You don't feel it. You don't notice it. But it's shaping everything you do. When you eat clean, exercise, journal, practice gratitude, none of that gives instant payoff. But years later, your body, mind, and peace are worth millions because you were growing where no one could see it. Most people quit compounding because they think nothing's happening. But that's like pulling a seed out of the soil every day just to check if it's growing. The truth is, compounding punishes the impatient and rewards the consistent. The real ROI, it shows up in your lifestyle, your energy, your mindset, your freedom. The most successful people you admire, their wins today are echoes of decisions they made years ago. Invisible efforts, quiet sacrifices, delayed gratification. That's why compounding feels like a scam at first, because your life hasn't visibly changed yet. But deep down, your foundation is getting stronger every single day. So here's the truth. If you're doing the right things and it feels like nothing is working, that's the best sign you should keep going. Because compounding is always quiet before the boom. So if you're sitting there thinking, why does it feel like nothing's working? Remember this, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're compounding. And compounding is a quiet storm. It builds in silence, then it hits all at once. The richest rewards don't go to the smartest or the fastest. They go to the most consistent, the ones who showed up every day. Even when it felt like no one was watching, even when it felt like nothing was changing. So take this as your sign. Don't stop. Don't pull out early. Don't trade your future freedom for short-term comfort. You're planting seeds today that your future self will thank you for 1,000 times over. And if this message hit home, if it made you pause and think differently about how life, money, or success actually works, then do one thing for me. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss insights like this again. Like this video if it gave you clarity. And share it with just one friend who needs to hear this before they give up too soon.